Welcome to Missing the Point. I am your host, Michael Marcangelo, joined alongside by Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. And on this episode of Missing the Point, we are talking about the Boston Celtics post All-Star break struggles. We're going to push the fucking panic button because I think it's time. And I am hosting this because Ray feels like he has way more to get off his chest than I do. So, Ray, the Celtics are 3-4 since the All-Star break, have lost 4 of their last 5, and have blown 3 consecutive double-digit fourth quarter leads. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm not fired up, and not for a good reason. I'm fired up, but not for a good reason, right? The only 3-4 I want to see is in Foxborough. That's it. So to be 3-4 since the break, and to be in it, like you're in it, you're up, you're killing your opponent, and then for whatever reason you revert back to what happened last year. You revert back to the year before, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before, and it becomes a fucking theme, and it is unbelievable. Once again, for those that listen to the show, I don't cuss too much unless I am upset, so I'm angry when I'm already dropping an F-bomb less than 2 minutes into the show. So yes, I am highly annoyed with their record since the All-Star game. And once again, it's not about you losing a game. I want to be clear, because for those that listen to this, say, "Oh, he's reaching, you're overreaching, you're overreacting." Look, man, whatever. You're not on the show. You're not getting your thoughts off. I am. Right now, it's not a matter of them losing games, but it's how you're losing. 28 points, 17, 14. It looks like some people's test scores out here. It's not a good look. It's a joke. It's a joke. And Joe Mazzulla needs to get it together. Tatum, Brown, the rest of the crew need to figure it out. So not pleased right now. It's funny because they're smacking Portland right now, but it means nothing because what goes together with the Celtics in 18, you're up almost 20, and then you got Damian Lillard who could get 80 if he wanted to. So
right.
No, I'm not holding my breath, but hey, listen, there's a lot more basketball left, but there's definitely cause for concern right now. And if you say otherwise, you're looking to be a green teamer, you're looking to be a glass half full, or really maybe all the way full. Maybe you're drinking a bottle of whiskey right now as you're listening to this, because you're probably drunk if you think that there's nothing wrong with the team right now.
Yeah, I think what's most concerning when you talk about the Celtics is that they seem to be running out of gas when the other good teams in the East are getting better.
Yep.
Like if you just look at the last 10, Milwaukee's 9-1, Philly 7-3, Cleveland 6-4, the Knicks are 9-1, the Celtics are 5-5. I go back to that Cleveland game because the last thing that this team needs is overtime.
Yeah.
That they need to start thinking about, or maybe they need to stop thinking about resting for the playoffs, because I think that there's this, it can go one of two ways here, right? And now I'm not saying that they don't have a chance, but for a team that has been there before and that went 42-17 before the All-Star game,
yeah,
it could set in that you're destined to be in the finals. So everything's about that. The Warriors can do that because of the run that they've gone on in the last 10 years. We cannot do that yet.
Right.
And the glaring issue, like if you needed a stat that would prove my point that this team needs to win in regulation against the other 6 winning teams in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are 11-10. They're 0-7 in overtime.
Yeah.
That's bad. Like real fucking bad. And again, I know Tatum, we kind of anointed him and he played really well again in the first half of the season, pre-All-Star break, as this is an MVP-like season. He's shooting 21% from 3 in the fourth quarter and overtime since the All-Star game.
Yep. He left his jump shot in Utah.
what do you like? What do you make of that?
Uh, he left his jump shot of Utah. Like that's just what it is. Like I feel like he got caught up in the hype of being the all-time scorer, which once again, that's cool. It's cool. He can always say he was the first because someone else is going to break it in a few years. Like that's just how the league is going. It's cool that he got that. Cool that he got the MVP award for that. I want to be clear, and I've said this on a few platforms. I could care less if he gets the MVP award. I don't care. And I know if this becomes a soundbite, folks, oh, you're being bitter. Listen, you call it what you want. I don't care if he wins that. I don't care if they get any other award. The only award I'm concerned with is what happens in June. Now, if you're telling me he joins Paul Pierce and Cedric Maxwell and Larry Bird by becoming Finals MVP,
Right.
hey, that means that we got the job done in the words of Big Daddy Kane. If not, I don't care. And because what happens is you end up doing the stat padding stuff. You take bad shots, which sometimes that's been happening. So I don't care. I don't care for the award. Once again, I was on board with it early on, but just now, like once again, it's been 15 years since they were the team. Like I said, when KG and Paul came together, I mean KG, Paul, and Ray came together, you knew what time it was. It wasn't like, oh, maybe they could win it. Like it was like, no, like if they're healthy, they're gonna win the championship, right? Or at least get to the finals. That's where they should be at this moment. Don't worry about the MVP award. Don't worry about Defensive Player of the Year. Those were 6 men, none of that shit. Get back to the finals, have your chance to win it, and then go from there. Now, next year you win it, and then you want to give an MVP, by all means, have at it, because you already got the ring there. But until then, fuck the regular season. Get into the playoffs, become legendary, and then go from there.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. When you were talking about like we don't want to see MVP awards or don't care about MVP awards, the first thing that popped into my mind is I care about like Finals MVP.
Right.
Like that's the only one that matters.
That
That
is
is
right.
the only one that matters. You ask Jordan right now. Do any of his regular season MVPs matter? He'd say no if he win a championship. That's it. I mean, that's just what it is. And there's just a lot to unpack with this season, right? This feels like, now again, I am pushing the panic button, but I do think that because this team was in the finals last year, that now they know how to get there. But they have a couple of things working against them. Number one, Al Horford's age. He ain't getting any younger. Number two, the durability of Time Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, you may as well start calling him the time off Lord because he is not on the court. He is like the Jimmy Garoppolo of the NBA. When he plays a lot of games, his team does really, really well. They get to the finals.
Yep.
But
that's a perfect comparison. And honestly, I'm just about out on Rob Williams. And once again, I expect the backlash. I expect the slander. That's fine. I can take it. Once again, as I always say, we thank you for listening. However, when someone that impacts winning that much can't be on the court, you got to find something else. So I say to guys like Keith Smith, who works for Celtics blog, I say to guys like Adam Taylor and other guys that cover the NBA for the Celtics, and they have these podcasts and they talk about, well, the Celtics don't need that. They needed anything they could get in order to help the front court. So yeah, I'm not saying guys like Nerlens Noel would have been the answer. Of course not. He has not been the answer since he got into the league. But the more bodies, the better. Once again, Blake Griffin's been awesome. Mike Muscala was great for the first 3 or 4 games they was here in Boston, but he's kind of came back to what he was in Atlanta and OKC. So at some point, you got to find that replacement. And ironically, yeah, you said that Al age has been an issue. He's been their best fucking player. He's been killing it. He's been going to work. So it's just like, excuse me. So it's like, yo, at the same time, yeah, he's aging. He's gonna be 37 by the time by the end of the playoffs. He's like shooting like 45, 46% from three. Like it's unreal. Since the All-Star break, like he's going in. So they would probably be 0-7 if he had like the game in Philly when Philly was given whatever they wanted, and he said, "No, I'm not going out like that," and hit 4 threes in a row in the third quarter. Like they lose that game, but people can say, "Oh, Tatum at the game went great." That was a feather in his cap for Tatum going forward. Great. If Al Horford doesn't go crazy in the third quarter and say, "Get on my back, I got y'all. We not losing like this." They might fuck around and be either 2-5, 1-6 in the 7 game stretch since the All-Star break. So having Brogdan out hurt, Rob being out, Jaylen Brown being out in that first Knicks game. So there's just a multitude of things that they need to get together health-wise. I didn't love guys resting the other night, including as we recorded this on a Wednesday night. I didn't love that. Yeah, you fucked up against New York. Okay. I mean, I was there. I was working. I worked that game. It was double overtime. You went in. I get it. You're only battling the Bucks. It's not about the Sixers. It's not about the Cavs. It's not even about the Knicks. It's not about those teams.
Right. It might be about the Cavs though, because they've kind of owned us this year.
Sure, but I think that in gut check time, a lot of those guys on that team have not been there. Donovan has, Danny Green, who just signed with them recently, has been there, but he's not going to play many minutes on that team. Like most of their core, so Mobley, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Jenny Osman. Jenny Osman was there for the finals a few years back, but like they don't have a lot of guys that have seen playoff success. So that could work against them, but then again, they could be naive and just say, okay, well, we'll fuck around and win a first game series against the Knicks. I think the Knicks are better than them. They'll just have trouble when Donovan Mitchell and those guys spread them out because Mitchell Robinson, like Rob Williams, well, it's a little different, but Mitchell Robinson will become unplayable in that moment because he literally just blocks shots. Like he does nothing else. Offensively, he just literally just sit there and just swat shots. So that would be tough, but that we could talk about that once we get to the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. I just, to me, to be 2.5 behind Milwaukee, Philly's now a 1.5 behind them for the 2 seed. We can win in Philly.
Oh yeah.
I'm not worried about Philadelphia, not at this moment, anyways. But enough's enough. Figure it out. You're 45-21. Once again, is it really the end of the world? No, of course it's not. Of course it's not. But there should be cause for concern because they need to be better.
Yeah, you don't basically the reason for this panic is you don't want game 7 in Milwaukee. If it comes to that, you want it at the Garden. Like, that home court matters. And you're probably, if everything goes right, you're going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. You should be playing against Milwaukee. You need to have game 7 in Boston. I think when you think about this season and you compare it to last season, the biggest difference, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts, is the team defense. So I'll put it like this. Right now, as it's currently constituted, the Boston Celtics are allowing just under 112 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they allowed just over 104. There's an 8-point differential there. Why do you think that is? I mean, we have the reigning defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart.
Yeah, no, that's a valid question. I think, remember last year, Rob was the most healthy he had been really his whole career, right? So
ever, yeah.
Rob didn't get hurt, I think, until the Minnesota game, which is around this time last year, actually. So misses a few weeks, comes back, whatever, and then they go on a run to the finals. He became the eraser, and obviously getting Derek White, and then obviously Tatum and Brown taking a leap defensively really helped. It's easier to funnel those guys towards Rob when he's out there because they could buy him. Either if he's not going to block the shot, he's going to alter it because They're scared of getting their shot blocked. So that to me is the easiest answer. The next thing is the effort's not the same. It's just not.
Why though? Do they just expect to get to where they were last year based off of the fact that they were there last year?
I do, and I think they think people are going to fold, but it's like, yo, you are now the hunted. And, and Bobby and I talked about this over the summer, when we did the scheduled release show. It's like, look, you were now the hunted. You were no longer the team that's on the rise and climbing to get there. Like, teams are using you as a measuring stick. And they're saying, okay, if we beat this team or we come close to beating this team, we're right there. And there should never be a doubt. So whether you're coming into TD Garden, whether we're coming into your building, there should never be a doubt on who the better team is. Once again, you can lose, but it's all about how you lose. And once again, this is still a hell of a team. Once again, for what I saw tonight, what they're doing against Portland so far, they're getting into the paint, then passing up to get a three. Excuse me. That's what they have not been doing that once the lead starts to evaporate, right? So if it's not broke, you don't fix it. Get into the paint, kick out, or if you get into the paint because you beat your guy, then you go there for two. That's what you missed it with Brogdan. Brogdan's going to drive to the lane. Derek White, as soon as he on the catch, boom, he catches it. He's going to the hole. So you have to make quick decisions, and at the same time, you can't play just not to lose. You have to maintain the aggression that got you the lead. If not, you're not going to be a good team like Cleveland or Philly or whatever, because at the same time, those guys have talented players.
You might be Philly.
You might still be Philly. It's just like at the same time, Joel Embiid, I mean, once again, last night put on a clinic. Rudy Gobert was like, you remember the old school song from the sidelights? Have you seen like he was lost. He was lost. It was bad.
I mean, I know I've said this a few times in the course of our 3-year history now. I don't care if a Doc Rivers led team goes 82-0. I don't trust him to win a championship unless he has 3 Hall of Famers.
It's about I mean, they have 2.
He needs 3.
Yeah, it's good. I might Harden and Embiid. I mean, them boys. I don't know. And this is the best basketball Embiid's ever played. Like, and we said that a couple of years ago, but I'm like 33, 12, and 5. He looks different this year. Once again, it could be different in the playoffs. He just looks. This is the best version of himself that he's been. We had no answer for him. I want to make that clear. Like, I don't care if it's Rob, Al, Muscala.
I mean, I think Al. I think
Robert Parrish. It don't matter. Like, he's going to get his.
Yeah, but we've seen in the playoffs, Al can guard him so much that Philly paid him $100 million just to put him on their team.
True. No, that's true, and I'm sure Al's agent and family was grateful. Because that got him a lot richer, and he was only there for a year, and then they moved on. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I'm excited to see that. I hope that if we don't stay at the 2, it'd be great to see them in the second round. I'd rather see him in the conference finals just to send Joel Embiid home. With him being so close to the finals, that would warm my heart. Once again, they haven't beat us in 40 years when it mattered. We beat AI. We beat the other AI and Andre Iguodala. They haven't won since they had Caldwell Jones and
Barkley.
So and Dr. J. Let's be real. And Barkley, right. So it's been a very long time. So it is what it is. But there's, like I said, like we talked about, we've been all over the place. Well, I've been all over the place, but they just have to figure it out. They got to figure out defensively, move the ball, play good defense, make sure you get all the treatment you need when you're not playing. And we've gone this far, and maybe you want to do it. So if not, then I apologize. But we got to address what's going on with Joe Mazzulla as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, dude. I mean, you got your country grammar shirt on today. It feels like it's getting a little too hot in here for Missoula. He doesn't know when to call timeouts.
Yeah.
He doesn't. And by the way, like, I don't know as much as you know about basketball. Actually, I'll even say this. You have forgotten more than I'll ever learn about basketball. Fact, not opinion. But his rotations are trash when it matters.
Correct.
And he doesn't know when to end a run. So you couple that with what we've already talked about in terms of their defense is getting a little bit worse in the course of a year. Doesn't that make you feel a little more anxious going into the playoffs, knowing that this? Now, I think he's a good coach, and I would say that I feel about Missoula the way that I felt about Brad in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a smart guy. The players clearly buy in. Sometimes the thought crosses your mind: is the moment too big for him? So what do you do?
Well, that's the thing. You're about to go into the biggest moments of the year. You can't be up, say, 68-54 against Milwaukee, and then you hit them timeout Bucks, and then they go on a 21-3 run, and now the momentum is in Milwaukee's hand, and now they're up 2-1. You're like, oh, now we got to win a game out there. Now, yes, last year they did that last year, right? And they won 2 out there, I think, in Milwaukee. They won game 4 and then they won game 6. But it's just like he may punk these guys publicly and in the locker room. He wants to come in with the sunshine and rainbow shit. Excuse me. It's just like
makes me sick too, dude. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's just I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's wild. Like, it's like I just took some mess before I got on here, and I'm just like, but it's like I'm coughing to resemble the choking that's going on. He chokes constantly against other teams. So think about this, right? So let's just put the scenario out there for the listening audience, right? The Celtics, as we have lamented, are currently your 2 seed in the NBA Eastern Conference, standing at 45-21. If the playoffs started today, you know who they would face in the first round?
Miami
Heat. And who's that coach over there? Eric Spoelstra. He would coach fucking circles around Joe Mazzulla, and it wouldn't be a shocker if they took Boston 7. Just because 2 of those games, oh man, damn, I wanted to see the guys can figure it out. Fuck that. Call a timeout.
Yeah.
Get the guys set.
Nothing but love you. Like, no doubt we'll figure it out. What I will say though, that's a great comparison though, because I feel like right now, we have to win something. We have to win a championship.
Right.
Missoula feels like right now in his seat what Spoelstra was when he had the big 3.
Yeah.
Like, he is getting to where he's going to get in this year based off of the talent around him. But if this is a sustained window and they're always competing for titles, we could look back and say, well, it's because he knew how to develop the room.
Right.
The problem here is we don't have Pat Riley looking over his shoulder. We have Brad Stevens, who also lost this same fucking room.
Yeah.
He can't look to Brad for help.
But you know what's wild? I think Brad would have won with this group. I do. If add Brogdan, you add those little pieces that he brought in, because he brought in what they knew they were missing when he was the coach. Like that. That's how he's orchestrating the team. So yeah, adding Brad, I mean, I think they would have done that. But what happens is, and I said this early on when I did the show with Joe and Craig. He is Horseshoes 2.0 right now. Because Brad at times, they don't want to call it timeout either. It's like, like, everything is not to figure it out. And once again, as a teacher, you tell your students, hey guys, or I call mine munchkins. So hey guys. So I say, hey, you got to figure this out. But they're in 7th grade. It's so like they don't know any different. It's different. It's okay. These are grown fucking men. You're playing basketball. You pass it to your right, you pass it to your left, or you pass it in the middle, you drive by, you drive, you kick, you block a shot, you get a fucking defensive rebound when you need it. It's simple. It's simple geometry. It's simple, Mike. And it bothers me that they go through these lapses that they don't know what the fuck they're doing on the court. It bothers me to no end.
Yeah, well, as it should.
They're too good. They're too good to play this at times.
Yeah.
They're too good.
So I have an interesting stat, which will I want to pose a question. So through the first 3 months of this season, right, the Celtics were the best offensive rebounding team in the league.
Yep.
Now they're the 22nd.
Yep.
Why?
So they were basically, one, they were making shots at a crazy clip early on, right? So they was making early crazy shots. So when everyone's making shots and the ball's hopping around, your energy is different. So it's like, okay, if it's a miss, I'm tracking where the miss goes. I'm getting the hustle. I'm hustling extra hard because I know if I get it, either I'm gonna pass it back off to JT, or because we're moving the ball so well, it might find its way back to me and I'm gonna get a three. That's not happening now. Because once again, that shooting was not sustainable. They were looking like the 2015 Warriors. It's not sustainable. Like, you have to know when to shoot it and then when to get to the hole. Jaylen Brown is the best on this team by far, well, maybe besides Brogdan, at getting to the rim. They need to follow suit because at times when the shot's not falling, going 9 of 36, which is 25% from three, is a joke. It's a joke.
Bad.
It's bad. No when to get to the cup. You got to have the balance. You got to score from everywhere. The great Isaiah Thomas, once again, our rival, played with Detroit. Heard him say this on NBA Open Court. You got to score from the three, the mid-range, the layup. We know the analytics are a part of the game. They're not going nowhere. We understand that, and we acknowledge that. You got to be able to score from everywhere. That's what makes you dangerous. Not a team knowing, oh, well, either they're going to go for a layup or they're going to go for a three, or they're going to go for a mid-range or they're going to go for a three. Get 15, 17, 19. 15, 17, 19. That's a drill that is no longer in the NBA, and it should be. 15, 17, 19. Make sure that you get about 10 of those in a row from each spot. And I promise you that their offense, their defense, all that will change in one. Because when the offense is working, everything else falls into place.
So I think one of the most interesting parts about that stat is through the first 3 months of the season, they're the number one offensive rebounding team. They didn't have Rob.
Right.
And they were still the best offensive rebounding team. Then you mix in the games that Rob was there, and now they're in 22nd. Yeah. So, I think when I watch this team, just the eye test, because I've been told in this show by other people, Bobby, that stats lie. This team now is so gassed in the fourth quarter of most games that they just jack up threes. Like, they're not crashing the boards. They're just not. And when they do, when you if you look at the games when you see when there's a Boston when there's a Celtic person underneath the net, it's when they had their small lineup in, and Peyton Pritchard ain't gonna grab a rebound. Like, it's just not like in traffic.
Nope.
So
not every time, anyways. Nope.
So, like, it isn't all bad, but I do want to pose a what's worse question to you. Out of their last, since the All-Star break, we've had ups and downs, mostly downs. What's worse? Blowing a 28-point lead to a legacy playoff team like the Brooklyn Nets, or Grant Williams missing 2 free throws to clinch that game? Take your time. Hydrate yourself.
The free throws.
So bad. What makes it worse is he goes, I'm going to make both of them.
Yeah,
Like you want to have that swagger. Like you don't want to go, you know what, I might make one, but you have to at least make fucking one.
Like that can't fucking happen, bro. Like that can't, like you can't be on the line, right? And once again, people that's our age or if not a little bit older, y'all remember the 95 finals, Nick Anderson gets up there and misses not one, not two, not three, but four in a row, and basically loses game 1 for Orlando, and they end up getting swept by the Rockets. He got killed in the papers, obviously, because it's the papers. The papers was the biggest thing at the time. I mean, my God, I couldn't imagine social media at that time.
Oh.
I mean, you think Grant got killed, Lord, it'd been different. However, I say that to say, Nick wasn't up there talking to Kenny Smith and Otis Thorpe and Clyde Drexler saying, I'm about to make these shits, bro. Like, this is about to go in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like the dude thinks he's fucking MJ, bro, and it makes me upset. And it's fitting that you and I are on this show because I think it was you, Bobby, and I that talked about, I forget which playoff series it was. It probably was the Brooklyn series. He was phenomenal, and we gave him his flowers. We said, you know what, the price just went up. You know, in the words of Fat Joe, yesterday's price is not today's price. Well, you know what, Fat Joe, in this case, you're wrong, big dog. He's not getting 20 mil. And honestly, and this I want to be clear, even with my hoarse voice like Dark Rivers. I want to be clear right now. I don't want to see him on the court ever again in his uniform. That's not hyperbole. I'm not laughing. I'm not joking. I don't want to fucking see him in a Celtics uniform ever again. Let him sit on the fucking bench and then let him write out the contract. See you later in after June.
How do you go? But how do you go from like how do you go from last year where you say that Grant Williams will be the reason that we win a series?
Well, it was Derek White.
Was that true?
I said Derek White.
Oh, well then never mind that. I have another question.
Well, we probably did because of how. I mean, he won the Milwaukee series. His 28-7 was phenomenal. So because once again, you can't give me a compliment like you did a few minutes ago about knowing basketball and then forget. Like, yes, and Game 7 last year, the man was, in the words of Marv Albert, sensational. He was great. He was phenomenal. 7 threes, playing great defense on Giannis. Yes. We will forever have that moment, just like we'll forever have the Kelly Olynyk moment against Washington back in 2017. Yes, that is great. As of now,
you don't want to see his ass in a Celtics uniform.
I don't want to see it. The regression has been that fucking bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know when it really started though? Because even though he had a good playoffs last year, when that game that he went off against Oklahoma City last year, and then it was like, oh, like he started fucking calling himself Batman. Dude, you believe in the hype. Everybody in the NBA got a fucking role. You're not a star. You might have been a star at Tennessee. You might have been a star in North Carolina when you was playing in high school. You're not a star in the NBA.
Yeah.
You're a good role player when you're not in your head like he is right now. But it's like, bro, like you're not. And once again, people that know me personally know I can't fucking stand Draymond. You're not on his level right now.
No.
You're not. Sorry.
But I think so. I agree with you. The 2 missed free throws are the worst. But let me. When I was watching that and I saw Donovan Mitchell in Grant Williams' face, instantly thought to myself, you think KG would have let anyone that close to Rondo on the free throw line in 08? No. If anyone got in anybody else's face on that team, KG, you would have had Big Baby, Leon Poe, anyone. saying like, "Why don't you just back the fuck up?"
Yep. Yep.
Where is that on this team?
I don't think I mean, outside of Smart, JB might be like that sometimes.
Marcus Smart was on the floor though. Marcus will do it. Marcus will do that when he is personally affected.
Yeah.
But what I like the first thing that I thought was like, yeah, like I saw Grant chirping him, but I was like, how is he face to face with this guy? Where's everybody else? That's what's missing.
So you know what that tells me though? They don't fuck with him the way it's being put out there.
Talks too much.
Yeah. And it's like, bro, you've done nothing. Once again, we just we didn't talk about it on the show, but I just saw Draymond go at Dylan Brooks. That's okay. He's becoming our Dylan Brooks. He's not as obnoxious as Dylan Brooks, but he's becoming that. Dylan Brooks, for those who plays for Memphis Grizzlies, talks entirely way too much for someone who hasn't got past the second round in his career. And I mean, Draymond, once again, I can't stand it, but he ripped him apart on it in the soundbite earlier. I thought it was hilarious. It's like that's what Grant is on this team. It's like, bro, you're not that guy yet, or at all. You're not going to be that guy. Stop trying to be something that you're not. And once again, I think what Marcus Smart a few years ago, before he got the 4 years 77, they gave him 4 years 56. I'm not even giving that. If they do end up resigning him, because that's what might happen. Brad has a soft spot, I think, for guys. So I think I would give him what they gave Rob. They gave Rob 4 years, $44 million. That's all I'm giving him. I'm not giving him 4 years, $80 million. Are you done? I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's just the analyst side of me. The fan in me, I don't want to see his bum ass ever again.
That's not like you shouldn't talk about Batman that way, dude. Like you can't.
Go back to the cave.
Before we transition to the frantic NFL offseason, 16 games left. What do you think? Best case scenario of these next 16 games. Do they go 10-6?
Best case to go 12-4. And this is very lofty, but they need to sweep this West Coast road trip. You got Portland on the road trip. I want to say you have the Jazz on the road trip. You got Sacramento, who's very good this year. I think they're number 2 in the West right now,
which is wild.
Wild, but I mean, hey, Fox, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, Domantas Sabonis, and this Sabonis is a perfect example of like put guys in a different position, let them see what happens. Like King's probably been on the verge. Mike Brown probably should be coach of the year. Like I said we'll have an award show at some point. But ever since he said turn on the fucking Jets on Instagram some months ago, they've been on fire. And they have a good mix of veterans and young guys there. So yeah, they're exciting. But they need to go 6. The Celtics need to go 6-0, or at least 5-1 on this trip. So for the last 16 games, yeah, they need to go 12-4. So I think 12-4 will put them at 57-25. You definitely got to beat Milwaukee on the 31st or March 30th. You got the Jazz on the 31st, I believe. You got the Pacers at home on the 24th. So you got the Hawks a couple times next month. So these are very winnable games. Hawks are not that good. Pacers are not that good. If you're looking to be in a position you want to be in, like I said, 12-4 I think is very doable. But it might be something they just have to do. Once again, I would love 14-2, 15-1. That'd be awesome. But I just think the way that they're monitoring injuries, the way that they're playing right now, 12-4 would be a good way to end the regular season.
It would also be pretty interesting to know that if they go 12-4, they're 57-20 and 35.
No, 20, 57, 25. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 57 and 25. You have 6 more wins than you did last year, and you probably feel a little bit worse going into the playoffs.
Well, it depends on how they get to the home before. Like if
And
they,
Rob. It depends on
yeah,
Rob
yeah,
too.
yeah. If Rob comes back and the defense is fine. Like, and once again, I think because like I said, if you're playing Miami in the first round, Miami would be a very good tune-up because once again, Miami's not better than they were last year, obviously. But you know they're gonna fight hard and they're gonna play you hard. So you don't need any cupcake moments in the playoffs. You need tough, you need adversity, in the words of Rasheed Wallace, if it ain't rough, it ain't right.
Uh, it's hard to follow that up, but I just have one more NBA question before we go to the NFL. Have you ever seen a more ridiculous home and away stat than the Golden State Warriors? 27 and 7 at home, 7 and 25 on the road, and they're the 6th seed. And there's still, like, again, objectively,
and no one want to face them either.
Yeah, objectively, you know they can flip the switch.
Yeah, they don't listen. They're going to, like, Sacramento better hope they stay in that 2 seed. Because if they face Golden State that first round, they're going home early.
I mean,
like,
Golden State
at the right time.
The Warriors might sweep the Grizzlies if it ended
Well,
right now.
I mean, if Ja's out for the 50 games like they're saying, which is, I think that's a bit excessive. But I get it. You're just trying to protect the image, but I just no. It would be a gentleman's sweep. It wouldn't be 4 in a row, but it would be a gentleman's sweep. They'll get one. They would get one in Memphis.
All right. So moving to the NFL, free agency starts. It's imminent. It's almost here, which is one of the most fun times to be a fan of football. But there has been some wild shit that has gone on so far in the offseason. I think the wildest thing is that the New Orleans Saints paid Derek Carr 4 years, $150 million. I'm just going to tell you this right now, Ray. Mm-hmm. Jameis Winston is better than Derek Carr. And it ain't close. He's got more talent. Clearly, he's a team player because after being the guy in Tampa and throwing and having the 30 for 30 season, he goes to the Saints. He takes his fucking licks as a backup for Drew Brees, comes in, he got hurt, but he has better arm strength. He's more mobile, and some would say that he knows the system. So can you wrap your mind around the fact that Derek Carr this year will make more than Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I mean that's because of how to deal with structure, but I mean it is wild.
I don't care if they're paying him. I wouldn't care if they were paying Derek Carr in dollars and they were paying Mahomes in yen. That man should never make more than the best quarterback in the league right now.
No, so I mean, listen, of course that's wild to say the least, right? It's funny, right? I'm a little biased, and not because I'm a big fan of Derek Carr, but I loved his interview with Ryan Clark during the Pro Bowl when it was like, "Have you ever been this hot in Vegas?" And he said no, which is probably why I'm leaving. That won me over because that lets me know he's a real guy. And fuck Josh, fuck Josh. Like you fighting, you're fighting to get Aaron Rodgers, who's probably not even going to come. You thought that, and you didn't bring Tom. You should have brought Tom over. Like, honestly, I'm rooting for him to do well in New Orleans. I thought that he was going to go to the Jets, honestly, but he's not a bottom 5 guy. Like this is not a
he ain't a top 10 guy.
The way you was talking about him, he's closer to the top 10 than he is to the bottom 5.
No,
of course he is. He's not. Is he 11 to 12? No, but if you had said was he 14 or 15, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's an egregious number to put him at.
You can name right now 16 quarterbacks better than him.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
No, I'm saying okay. I'm like, I want. I'll sit back and listen. So Mahomes, okay, that's one, right?
Mahomes,
Uh,
Rodgers,
you said I didn't say
Aaron Rodgers,
high praise, okay.
then
I
Derek
you
Carr.
know for
No, no,
those
no.
for
I'm
for
not
those that
ranking.
have listened,
No, 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 no. Pause, pause,
that
pause,
is high
pause, pause,
praise from Mike
pause.
Marcangelo.
Excuse me. Pause. I'm not ranking them like number one, number two. I'm just saying I can name 17 better than Derek Carr. And not in any particular
I
order,
mean,
but they're all
I don't even know what his numbers were last year, but I'm like,
doesn't matter.
so so numbers don't matter in that regard.
Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers,
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow,
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff,
Wow.
Justin Herbert. Oh God. The guy from
Golf was questionable, but the other guys, I'm with you.
the guy from oh God. Guy from Jacksonville. Come on, help me out here.
Sunshine, Lawrence, okay.
Yeah, Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith,
This was
Jimmy Garoppolo.
listen, I'm happy for Geno too. We can talk about him in a minute. I'm happy for Geno. 3 years, 105. I said Geno and I forget who the other guy you just mentioned, but those two guys are questionable. And the other guys you named, I'm with you.
Tua, I would say Tua. Tua is
he's better because of his circumstance though. If you put him with them two guys down there, I bet you he dominate out there too. I bet you. With Water, with Hill, Gesicki, Mostert, and Wilson Jr., you can rest assured that he would dominate out there.
Didn't Derek Carr have a top number one wide receiver, a top 5 running back?
Was it offense better than Miami? Was it offense better than Miami?
No.
Of course it was. Okay, then. Thank you. And they were doing what you hate the most. They were relying on the running back. So that should tell you everything right then and there. They wanted Josh Jacobs to be the guy, which I get because he was killing it. But I wasn't. Waller wasn't around, and congrats to him. I know he was with Kelsey Plum. He just got married, so congrats to him. But yeah, like listen. I want to run for. I love him. I can't believe he's wasting away over there. I would love to have, but no, we want to look at fucking Slade Bolden. Like, what a joke. But needless to say, look, you don't have to go through all 17. I get it. You think he's mediocre or less than mediocre, fine. I feel you. I think he's in the top half, but that's fine. Like I said, the interview, like I said, that won me over to an extent, but never thought he was a hell, yeah, way fucking better than his brother, and his brother went number one, and it was a joke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his brother went number one and was awful, like real awful. So it's just like this guy, what was second round, third round, whatever. He's done well. And once again, there's never been great talent around him until recently in Oakland or Las Vegas. So like I said, we'll see what happens down there in New Orleans. But yeah, 150, yeah, it's a lot. I think Vegas gave him 125 at some point. So, you know, it is what it is. You know,
I think the most egregious signing so far though is Daniel Jones. 4 years, $160 million. That man was one more interception away from being benched and cut.
Yeah.
Brian Daboll comes in. All Daniel Jones did was turn the ball over less.
Yep.
And so the market for quarterbacks is fucking bananas. Absolutely bananas.
So what should change then? Because if should there be like a slot for quarterback? Like, should they only get a certain amount of cap? Like, what would be your what would change there?
Well, no. I'm listen. If I'm not begrudging Daniel Jones for getting $160 million or Derek Carr for asking for it and getting it. It's the teams that are spending it on them. Right. It's like you got to get your money. Ask for it. If they give it to you, then fuck them. Like, whatever. But when you look at that team now, I think that for Daniel Jones, I'll say the things for him is that he hasn't really had an offensive weapon aside from Saquon Barkley in a little while. I mean, Kenny Golladay, caught COVID more than he caught passes last year. So, I mean, you need to get receivers around him for sure. And you know what? They beat the Vikings in the playoffs. Great. Kirk Cousins, so whatever.
Right.
I guess my real point is, and what I'm really trying to allude to is, where does Lamar go? Because I don't think Lamar Jackson deserves 300 or like 250, $300 million. I don't think he does. Like, I've said this to you before. I don't think that Lamar Jackson will be the reason that a team wins the Super Bowl. But I do believe that he is $150 million better than Derek Carr. So now you put yourself in a situation where if you're going to pay that, like Derek Carr, 150, Lamar is, I mean, you can't really measure how much more talented he is than Derek Carr.
So the problem is, and people will, I mean, obviously it's recent, so people are going to talk about Carr, talk about Geno, talk about Daniel Jones, right?
No, it's Mr. Happy Ending. It's Deshaun.
Right, exactly. He ruined the market, right? In more ways than one. And to get 230 fully guaranteed, really getting that money in the first 4 years, it changed everything. So yeah, I to me, that's what I would have gave Lamar. Anyways, I would have gave him around 200 something million. I would have gave him 5 years, 250 with 150 of that guaranteed. That's what I would have done before. None of these guys are MVPs. He won one, and they're disrespecting him.
Yeah, but remember,
that's what I got an issue with. They didn't win MVP. They didn't sniff one, and they get this type of bread.
Yeah, but we don't like you can't value MVPs in the NFL and not in the NBA. Like you can't. That can't be your
what I'm saying. No, but these guys are getting paid though. They're getting paid. So when he won the award, it's not about devaluing it. I'm saying it for my home team. I don't care if Tatum get it because I just want to win the championship. Like that's just my thing. Tatum already got the payday. He got the 5 years, 195. So I mean, we can't hold that over his head. He got the money. You just talked about these guys are not more talented than Lamar. You saw what happened with them, and you're gonna keep putting Tyler Huntley out there. You're gonna go back to Kyle Bowler? You're gonna go get Anthony Wright? That's what you're gonna do? You're gonna bring those guys? Well, go get Todd Heap. Go get Jamal Lewis. Go get Quadri Ismail. Go back and get all those guys. None of those guys are Lamar Jackson. He makes them better. Period. And they know that.
Except in the playoffs.
Sure, except for the Titans, right, or the Chargers, whoever they beat. We praise Josh Allen. What has he done?
Nothing. Oh,
okay. Nothing. Thank you. So he's about to get a payday too, right? Cool. So this is what I'm saying. We pick and choose, right? And I get it. Because we like what we like. Regardless of what you like as a talent, he delivers for the most part. Pay the man. And if you want to give him cheap, because once again, I don't care about the pictures at this moment. Someone sent me a beautiful, beautiful picture of Lamar and the number 8 jersey at Foxborough. And I was like, oh, it looks phenomenal.
Oh, Bill. I mean,
listen, it's 5 years too late because it should have happened in 2018. Oh. So it is what it is. But because I think you wouldn't have the same smoke for him if he learned behind Brady for a couple years and took over in 2020 and dominated. You'd be like, this guy's not bad. So once again, the legs are there. Obviously, the arm talent obviously has to get better. I'm not disputing that. He's 26 years old. It ain't like he's 32 or 33 or 34. He's 26 years old. And 1, he could run by you. 2, if you give him time, he's going to make good throws. We've seen it a few years ago. So I just think somebody needs to do it. If I'm the Jets, I'm giving whatever. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. I'm giving whatever I need.
Well, no, I mean, financially, Aaron Rodgers makes more sense because he's not going to play for as long. Like you only have to eat his contract for 2 years, Lamar for 5. Now, I
I
listen.
mean,
I think
I mean, let's
no,
be
no.
real.
I think Lamar has a higher ceiling. But
Of course he does.
here my question. My question though is, do you think he's hurting his own cause by not having an agent? Because there's oftentimes players think that they're worth something, and agents do better protecting that
Right.
case. Like they're part of the machine. They know how to work the system.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he need to go to TRO, go hit up Drew Rosenhaus. I don't know. Um, I don't know. Something's got to give because Drew Rosenhaus is the football Scott Boras. Like,
Oh yeah.
what I'm saying? So you got him as a client, most likely you're gonna get that day. You're gonna get that payday. Yeah. I mean, I think that if I'm him, would I take 4 years, 160 fully guaranteed? Because that's not what Daniel Jones got. He didn't get 4 years fully guaranteed. I think it's really 2 years for 80. When they broke down the deal. So I would ask for 4 years, 180 guaranteed fully.
Yeah.
And that's the 45 a year. And that's perfect. Like I think
So
that would be that.
now this probably wouldn't be ideal for Lamar from a personnel standpoint, but I think they can make it work from a cap and a draft pick standpoint because obviously the Ravens placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on him, meaning that they have the right to match an offer, but if they don't, they get 2 first-round picks, right?
Yep.
Lamar might be a Texan. They have a lot of draft capital.
I mean, but they did all that to get Bryce Young, though, essentially.
No. They have like 6 first-round picks in the next 2 years.
No, I know, but I'm saying like I mean, unless they want to give up that, I mean, that's cool. And listen, I'm not of the mindset of like, oh, I got to hold on to this because I got the top 3 pick. You want established talent. There's no indication that any of these quarterbacks coming in, like Will Levis, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, like there's no indication that these guys are going to be the guy right away. Anthony Richardson helped himself a lot. In the combine, some of those deep balls he threw, I was like, I almost forgot what it looked like to see a deep ball being thrown to a wide receiver. Even though I'm a Gator fan, I didn't see it that much from him in the season, but I'm not here to open up old wounds. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think to me, if I'm the Jets, change your fortune. It's been Brett Favre, it's been Ken O'Brien, it's been Boomer Esiason, it's been Vinny Testaverde, Mark Sanchez, Chad Pennington.
Brett Favre.
Yeah, Brett Favre. Like it's been too like it's been so much of a carousel. Like, let him in. Let him in. Let him in. Let him into your franchise and change it. He's got the whole world in his hand.
Well, I mean, I would just say, I think Richardson was unreal. Like I sent that to the Discord. You need to set him up for success. The Falcons have already said that they're not going to go after Lamar. So why don't they just draft Richardson, pair him up with Kyle Pitts one more time?
Man, that would be nice.
Right? I don't know that he's going to go in the first round. And
oh, he is. Because I don't know, the Will Levis kid came out of nowhere. And just to bring it home to us, don't be surprised if we draft Aiden O'Connell, quarterback from Purdue. Kid can throw it, he can sling it. I've done a few mock drafts already. I sent to you guys in the group chat. I'm all over this stuff. I'm hoping that we get a few of those guys that I selected. Trey Dean from Florida, he should be there in the late round. He'd be a really good safety next to Duggar, especially if McCourty chooses not to come back. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, do you think we got to get a quarterback? I know you just with Dave, but do you think we got to get a quarterback?
Us?
Yeah, the Patriots. Yeah.
No, no,
So
no.
not even so not even a guy if you get like in the 56 rounds, just like you just bring him in.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna let go of if they're letting Hoyer go, and I mean, I think I don't know that they're gonna carry three quarterbacks because I think you still have Bailey as the backup.
Right.
I think that there are more pressing needs right now. Obviously, it's offensive tackle, receiver, defensive back. I just don't I don't want the Patriots anywhere near a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, but if it's Quentin Johnson, Jackson Smith, Najoba, or Ajiba, excuse me, or Zay Flowers, like
No,
what are
no,
we talking about?
but the latest mock drafts have the Patriots selecting Jordan Addison out of
Oh, from
USC.
USC. Oh, he's nice too. He's nice. Yeah. But the only thing is he ran a little slower at the combine, so people were kind of cool on him. But I'm like, watch the tape. The separation is there. The hands are there. Yeah, him as Zay Flowers at 14. I'm here for. Um, unless you want to get now the tight end I told you guys about too. Darnell Washington from Georgia. And I know everyone's talking about Brock Bowers. I get it. Best tight end in the nation. I get it. Darnell Washington is 6'6, 265. And the last time we drafted someone like that, it paid off very well. Go get him because he does everything Bill wants. He catches everything when it's near him. He gets guys out of the club. He's a phenomenal blocker. Draft him. The kid from Iowa too, Matt Laporta. Look at him. Like these guys do everything that Bill looks for. You gotta. I think you gotta go tight end too. You gotta go tight end. You gotta go tackle. And then you gotta go. You gotta go edge. Got to go edge rusher too.
They
Because
can draft. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They rushers. Like, I have no doubts about Bill and his ability to do that.
yeah, I was saying, but you got to get an edge guy. Will McDonald out of shit, Will McDonald, Iowa State, Will McDonald, Iowa State. Like good hands, good footwork. Like so, I trust Bill on that side. Like we talked about that before. I just think if you're seeing the market go this way with quarterbacks, I want to go back to that because you said that they're not going to get a quarterback early, maybe it'll be later. In 2 years of Max Deal is up, there's no way they're paying him north of $100 million. Like, there's no fucking way. There's no way. Like, it's not happening.
Well, I mean, if things
I,
go
I, I will become a vegan full time before they give Mac Jones what Derek Carr got.
well, there's a lot there's a lot of corn and fried chicken, so that's fine. It's like basically a vegetable. So what I would also say though is if the next 2 years go well, if the next
Oh God,
go well,
put that on the soundbite.
if the next 2 years go well, maybe Bill passes Shula at some point in time. I think Kraft would pay Mac, but this is the thing that I said on like the fantasy booking show that I did with DK last week. If you you need to surround Mac with established, elevated talent on the offense because he's already shown you what he can do when he has great players around him. Like, great, it's not hard, right? But like, I wouldn't be afraid to not take a quarterback here and then take one next year. Like, I'm not worried about that. I'm just not, because listen, if things go the way that it looks like it could go, this is just a hypothetical, but it's looking a little more serious. In your division, you will have Tua with Tyreek and Jaylen Waddle, Aaron Rodgers at the Jets, and Josh Allen with the Bills. You might go 1-5 in the division.
Yeah, facts.
Like it doesn't matter what you do. Like, to quote the great one, because you're not going to have the best quarterback in the division anyway. You're just not. So, like, load up on defense.
I mean, unless he takes a leap that none of us see.
Sure.
And like I said, no one's bringing it up because we don't think it's possible. So that's what I'm saying. Throw another dart at the board.
He had Justin Fields 3 spots above where he drafted, and he chose Mac Jones.
I mean, to be fair, Chicago jumped 8 spots. They jumped from 19 to 11.
What I'm telling you is all we had to do was jump 3.
20 to 11, excuse me. 20 to 11.
All we had to do was jump 3.
Sure, but once again, Bill is very much like Danny Ainge. Teams are not looking to help out Bill Belichick. They're just not. I'm sorry. And I know it's a different era because Brady's gone. They're not looking to help Bill Belichick. Because you don't want to be the person to be like, damn, we had them gone. It's the Mahomes era. It's Burrow. It's whatever. And then you give him the tool that gets them right back. You don't want. I'm telling you, there'd be people outside with a pitchfork if anybody helped Bill get back to that level. They don't want that. Because if he gets our coach wherever he gets there, like, it's just a matter of getting there.
I think we'll do a more in-depth free agency show maybe next week or the week after. Let your voice heal up. I know that you've been
once we don't sign nobody, you mean? This is the free agent.
Yeah. Well,
this is a free agent special now because we're not going to sign anybody.
We have a shit ton of cap space too.
So I'm hearing 93. I heard 36 million, so I don't know which one to believe.
Well, if I said 93, don't believe that. It's probably right around $36 million.
Got you.
Yeah.
They may use 10 of it.
Well, but it could, like,
the
cap is crap. Like, we know about that. Like, shout out to Felger. Hope to get you on the show soon. But that can always be manipulated.
I mean, there's guys out there, like Leonard Brown just got released. Bud Dupree just got released from Tennessee. Like, make the calls.
Yeah.
You know, your boy Derrick Henry.
Yeah. No. But Ray,
shut up. You would love him here. Shut up. You would love him here.
Who?
You would love Derrick Henry here. Shut up. You would love him here.
No.
If he did what Corey Dillon did here, you would love him. Just cut it out.
Who handed Corey Dillon the ball?
Oh my gosh.
Who was it? Was it Tom Brady? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So for Rayshawn Buchanan, this is Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much.
Hold on. Before we go, the Celtics are going to get a win. They broke the streak.
Well, hold on. How much time is left?
Hold on. I'm going to tell you right now before you sign off.
Guess this isn't evergreen, Craig.
The Celtics are up. Oh, they have won 115-93. So
there you go.
The game streak is now over, baby. Tatum led the way with 30 points. There you go.
4-4 since the break.
There you go. Boom.
Basically, everything that we said in the first 34 minutes of the show is now null and void. So, like, just skip to
the end. No, it's not. So get better. Keep winning. 12-4, baby. 12-4.
Just win, baby, in the words of the so-so Al Davis. For Rayshawn Buchanan, this is Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to Missing the Point. We will talk to you next week.